This video is about writing the equation of a median and writing the equation of an altitude. So recall from the beginning of the chapter that a median goes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. An altitude is a line segment that goes from the vertex that is perpendicular to the other side. So let's first talk about writing the equation of a median. So to write the equation of a median, the first thing you want to do is sketch a triangle if one's not there for you and draw on the median, just so you can visualize what you're trying to do. Second, you want to find the midpoint of the side that it's passing through, because remember, medians always need the midpoint. And then you want to find the slope between the midpoint and the vertex from the opposite side of the triangle, which is the vertex that it'll ask you for. Then we need to write it in point slope form and flip to slope intercept form if necessary. So in number one, we have triangle ABC is a median. Write the equation of the median in point slope form. So the nice thing is here that they already gave us a triangle, so I'm going to draw in my median, and I'm going to call that J. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to figure out what the coordinates of J are. So I need to find the midpoint of BC. So when I do that, I have -2 plus -6 over 2 and 9 plus -7 over 2. So when I find my midpoint, -2 plus -6 is -8, divided by 2 is -4. And then I need to find 9 plus -7 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. So I now have my midpoint. The next thing I need to find is the slope of my median. So I need to find the slope of AJ. Well, I now know that J is -4, 1. So I'm going to use that coordinate in A to find the slope of AJ. So when I find the slope of AJ, I have y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, which gives me -2 over 12, which reduces to -1/6. Now I'm going to use the median and the slope I just found to write my equation in point slope form. So remember that point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So when I substitute, I get y minus 1 equals -1/6 x plus 4. Number 2, triangle KTS has the endpoints at K, T, and S. S is the median of the SD is the median of the triangle. Sketch the triangle and write the equation of SD in point slope form. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a triangle, and it doesn't really matter where the coordinates are. So I'm going to call this K, which is 3, 9, T, which is -9, 1, and S, which is -1, -7. So I want to find the median of the triangle, SD. So S to D, so D is over here. So my first step then is I need to find the midpoint for coordinates of D. So I need the midpoint of TK. So when I do that, I have -9 plus 3 over 2 and 1 plus 9 over 2. So -9 plus 3 is -6, divided by 2 is -3. 1 plus 9 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. So I now have the midpoint. Then I need to find the slope of my median. So I need to find the slope of SD. So we now know that D is -3, 5. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So remember, two negatives make a positive. So I get -12 over 2, which reduces to -6. So now I can use my median and my slope to write my equation in point slope form. So I have y minus 5 equals -6 times x plus 3. Number 3, triangle DOT has the end coordinates. DM is the median. Sketch the triangle and write the equation of DM in point slope form. So again, I'm just going to draw my triangle. So I have D, which is at the coordinate 0, 5, O, which is at the point 11, 11, and T, which is at the point 9, negative 9. So I want to find the median DM. So I'm going to draw from D to create my M to the opposite side. So first thing I need to do is I need to find the coordinates of M, which is the midpoint of OT. So I have 11 plus 9 divided by 2, and 11 plus negative 9 divided by 2. So 11 plus 9 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. 11 plus negative 9 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. Then I also need to find my slope of my median, so dm, and I know now that m is the coordinates 10, 1. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which gets us negative 4 over 10, and that reduces to negative 2/5. So now that I have my midpoint and my slope, I can write my equation in point slope form. So I get y minus 1 equals negative 2/5 times x minus 10. So now we're going to write the equation of the altitude of a triangle. So when we write the equation of an altitude, we're going to sketch the triangle and the altitude. We want to circle the vertex of the triangle that the altitude is passing through, because that's the point we're going to use for our equation. Then, since an altitude is perpendicular to the side of the triangle, we want to find the slope of the triangle that it intersects, and then we want to take the opposite reciprocal. And then we're going to use point slope form to write our equation, and we can move to slope intercept form if necessary. So in number 4, BK is the altitude. So B is the point we're going to use, and we're going to draw it so it's perpendicular, and this is point K. So we already have our point, so writing the equation of the altitude is a little bit easier because all we need to do is find the perpendicular slope. So first we're going to find the slope of AC. So y2 minus y1, remember it doesn't matter which one is y2 and y1, over x2 minus x1. So in this case, we add those together when there's two negatives. So we have 6 over 14, which reduces to 3/7. Now, we need to find the perpendicular slope, remember, is the opposite reciprocal. So we're going to flip that fraction, and because it was positive, it now becomes negative. So negative 7/3. Now, when I write the equation, I'm going to use that b coordinate and my perpendicular slope. So I have y minus 9 equals negative 7/3 x plus 2. Number 5, KTS has the endpoints. TD is the altitude of the triangle, so sketch the triangle and write the equation of TD in point slope form. So I have my triangle KTS. K is at 0, 6. T is at negative 12, negative 2. And S is at negative 4, negative 10. Now I want to write the altitude KD. So my altitude goes from T down to the opposite side. So I'm going to use the point T. That point's already done for me. I need to find the slope that I'm going to use for my equation. So my first step is to find the slope of KS. So I have negative 10 minus 6 over negative 4 minus 0, which gets us negative 16 over negative 4. That reduces to positive 4. So I'm going to use the point they already gave us and our slope to write my equation in point slope form. So I have y plus 2 equals, before we do that, we need the perpendicular slope. So if my slope is 4, my opposite reciprocal is 1/4, and because it was positive, it now becomes negative. So I'm actually going to use the perpendicular slope to write my equation. So I'm going to use the negative 1/4. So my equation here then would be y plus 2 equals negative 1/4 x plus 12. Number 6, we're going to draw our triangle and we're going to find the altitude dm. I have D is at 5.9, O is at 9.15, and T is at 13, -5. So I want the altitude dm, so the altitude is going to go from D to the opposite side and create that right angle. So I already know I'm using point D. I need to find my slope though. So first I find the slope of OT, and in that case it would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that gets us -20/4, which reduces to -5. Now I need my perpendicular slope. So the opposite, if this was negative, it becomes positive, and the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. So I'm going to use my opposite reciprocal slope and my point D to write the equation of the line. So I have y minus 9 equals 1/5 x minus 5. Now this time it wants us to write it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go 2 more steps. I'm going to distribute that 1/5. Y minus 9 equals 1/5 x minus 1. And then I'm going to add 9 to both sides. Y equals 1/5 x plus 8. So putting it all together, JM is the median. Find the coordinates of A. So if I have a median from J over here to the midpoint somewhere, which is A, so the coordinates, remember, are going to be the midpoint of GS. So to find the midpoint, I'm going to add the x coordinates, divide by 2, and add the y coordinates and divide by 2. So -4 plus 8 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. 5 plus 3 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So the coordinate would be 2, 4. Now, when I do the same thing for SB, if this is B as my midpoint, I need to find the midpoint of G and J. So I have -4 plus 2 divided by 2, and 5 plus -5 divided by 2, which gets us -4 plus 2 is -2, divided by 2 is -1. 5 plus -5 is 0, divided by 2 is just 0. Now for number 9, now we're looking at altitudes. So if GC is an altitude, what is the slope of GC? So remember, if this is GC and it's perpendicular, I need the opposite reciprocal slope of that side. So first I'm going to find the slope of JS. So 3 minus -5, 8 minus 2 gets us 8/6, so 4/3, which means that my perpendicular slope, which is the slope of GC, would be -3/4 because I need the opposite sign and to flip my reciprocal. For number 10, we want the slope of JD. So J to D goes over here. So first I need my slope of GS. So when I find the slope of GS, I have 3 minus 5 over 8 minus -4, which gets us -2/12. That reduces to -1/6. So my opposite reciprocal, if this was negative, it becomes positive, and when I flip 1/6, I get 6.